You know that specific feeling, and I think we've all had it at some point, where you know exactly what you're supposed to do.
Oh, yeah.
Logically, on paper, you have the plan. You've read the books. You've prepped for the meeting or the difficult conversation or, even just getting yourself to the gym.
The logic is completely sound. The plan is perfect.
Exactly. The logic is there. But then you step into the actual moment.
And nothing.
And you freeze. Or you revert. It's like this massive gap just opens up between your brain and your body.
Right.
You clam up in the meeting, or you get defensive with your partner, or you just drive right past the gym and go home.
It is the classic gap between logic and behavior. And it's probably the most frustrating human experience because we think, I know better than this.
Why am I not doing better than this?
Exactly.
Right. And we usually try to bridge that gap with willpower. We white knuckle it.
Push through.
We tell ourselves, just push through. But today, we're looking at a stack of research centered around a text from 1930 that suggests we're missing a mechanical step in the process. We're doing an exploration of Ernest Holmes's creative mind and success, and specifically his work on the imagination.
And I really love this topic because Holmes takes a word that we usually associate with, kids.
Daydreaming.
Right, imagination. And he turns it into this rigorous, almost engineering-level concept.
Yeah, this isn't about daydreams or unicorns.
Not at all. Holmes argues that the reason we freeze, the reason we fail to act on what we know, is something he calls unbelief.
Which sounds a little spiritual.
It does, but he doesn't mean spiritual doubt. He means we haven't embodied the atmosphere of success before walking into the room. We haven't built the pattern.
We're going to break down exactly how to build that pattern. We're going to define imagination as a mental blueprint. Look at why most of us are accidentally rehearsing failure like 23 hours a day. And we have a specific 4-step tool to install a new pattern.
It's really about moving from knowing to being.
If this episode helps you, please hit like and subscribe for the next one.
So let's get into it.
Let's start with that word, imagination. Because in the modern world, if I tell my boss I'm solving this problem using my imagination, they probably think I'm,
spacing out
or procrastinating. It sounds so passive.
Right. We tend to equate imagination with fantasy, escaping reality.
I wish I was on a beach.
I wish I was a billionaire. That's fantasy. That's escapism. Holmes defines imagination very, very differently.
He calls it directed mental rehearsal.
Exactly. Think of it less like a movie you watch for fun and more like an architectural blueprint.
The blueprint analogy is all over this text. Why is that specific metaphor so important?
Because a blueprint isn't a suggestion.
No.
It's an instruction. Holmes says imagination is a pattern, and whatever pattern is provided will come out into expression. So imagine you're building a house. You have a builder. That's the raw energy, the subconscious mind, the workers.
Got it.
But you can't just tell the builder, go build me a nice house.
They would be lost. They need specs. They need measurements where the pipes go.
Exactly. The mind, specifically what he calls the subjective mind, is the builder, but the imagination is the architect.
Ah.
And if the architect provides a blueprint where the kitchen is upside down, the builder builds it upside down.
The builder doesn't argue.
The builder doesn't say, hey, this is going to look terrible. It just builds.
And that's the mold concept he talks about.
Yes. He read thought molds into whatever form we desire. The universe, or your subconscious mind, however you want to frame it, is like molten plastic or concrete.
Okay.
It just flows into the mold you provide. If your imagination is cracked with doubt or fear,
then the final cast will be cracked.
It has to be.
So this is interesting because I think we often assume our subconscious is, looking out for us. Like if I have a bad idea, my subconscious should step in and say, hey, maybe don't do that.
And that is the fatal mistake. That is where people get so tripped up. Holmes is very, very clear on this. The subjective mind has no power of choice.
Wow.
That's the critical mechanic to understand. It's completely non-judgmental. It creates whatever inner pictures are presented to it.
So it's like a printer.
Mm-hmm.
It just prints the file you send it. It doesn't care if the file is a masterpiece novel or a ransom note.
That is the perfect analogy. It just prints.
Yeah.
If you send a file that says, I am awkward and nobody likes me, the subjective mind says, okay, printing.
Awkward and unlikable behavior.
Yes. It doesn't distinguish between a picture you see with your eyes and a picture you see with your mind.
That's actually kind of terrifying if you're an anxious
It
person.
explains a lot, doesn't it? If you're constantly picturing worst-case scenarios, you're constantly sending those files to the printer.
And this leads us to one of the most famous terms in this philosophy, which I know you highlighted.
The mental equivalent.
Man plants, mind creates.
Precisely. You must have the mental equivalent, which is really just an older term for an internal model, before you can have the physical experience.
So you can't experience confidence in the room.
If you haven't built the model of confidence in the imagination first,
Yeah.
it's impossible.
This connects directly to why we freeze, right?
Yes.
We have the logic of confidence. I am qualified for this job, but the model in our head is still the old, insecure one.
And the subjective mind, the builder, always follows the model, not the logic. It follows the picture, not the wish.
Okay, so if the machine just prints what we send it,
Mm.
why is it so hard to just send the right file? Why can't I just sit here right now, say, I'm successful, and boom, it prints success?
Because of the stream. This is where Holmes introduces the concept of the steady stream versus the fluctuating stream.
I loved this part because it felt like a personal attack.
It calls us all out.
The fluctuating stream of consciousness.
Yes. Holmes warns that most people treat their mental patterns like a flickering light bulb. Let's say you have a big presentation. You sit down in the morning, drink your coffee, and you visualize it going well. You spend 5 minutes feeling good.
The mold is good. 5 minutes of success. I'm feeling great.
But then you get in the car, someone cuts you off, you start worrying about traffic, then you get to the office, you start complaining to a coworker about how stressed you are. Then you replay a worst-case scenario in your head during lunch. Then you worry about what your boss thinks of your outfit.
So I had 5 minutes of this success blueprint.
And 10 hours of the failure blueprint.
Right.
Exactly. You're sending the builder 2 contradictory sets of plans every single day. First, you send the blueprints for a mansion. 10 minutes later, you send the blueprints for a shack. Then a mansion again. Then a shack.
And the builder is just
The
confused.
builder produces a confused mess. A fluctuating stream brings a fluctuating life. Holmes says a steady stream of consciousness brings a steady manifestation. If you want a specific result, the signal has to be consistent.
There's some real science backing this up in our research pack, specifically around attention bias and the reticular activating system, the RAS.
Oh, absolutely. This isn't magic. It is neurology. The RAS is the filter in your brain that decides what information gets through to your conscious awareness.
It filters based on what you decide is important.
Right. It's the reason why if you buy a specific car,
You suddenly see that car everywhere.
exactly, you primed your brain to look for it. Now, apply that to your life. Look at the priming studies.
Okay.
If you prime someone with words related to threat or judgment, their brain literally starts scanning the environment for threats.
So they physically see a different world.
A completely different world than someone primed with opportunity.
So if I'm rehearsing, I'm going to screw this up all day, even unconsciously, my brain is actively hunting for evidence that I am, in fact, screwing up.
It's the barbershop metaphor. If you hang out in a barbershop long enough, you'll end up getting a haircut. If you hang out in a mental atmosphere of failure, you will eventually act out failure. We attract what we steadily contemplate.
Let's ground this, because Holmes can get a little abstract with his, 1930s language, and I want to make sure we really nail the practical application.
Good idea.
We have 3 concrete examples of how this plays out. Let's start with work and career.
There's a great distinction here between what we might call the leaner and the self-recognizing person.
The leaner. This is the person who's sort of waiting to be picked.
Right. The leaner thinks, I need this job to give me security. I need the boss to validate me. I need the company to survive so I can survive.
So their mental atmosphere, their blueprint, is all about need and dependency.
And Holmes has that line, you never saw a successful man who went around with an atmosphere of failure.
It's a bit harsh, but it rings true.
It does. If your internal blueprint is, I hope they don't fire me, you are broadcasting an atmosphere of insecurity. Think about the body language.
You walk differently.
You speak more quietly. You hesitate before answering questions.
And the boss just picks up on that.
Subconsciously, yes. They feel your lack of confidence. They might not even know why, but they just feel like you aren't ready for leadership.
So what's the fix?
The fix, according to Holmes, is self-recognition. You have to change the mold to, I am the motive power here. I bring value.
It's a shift from asking for value to supplying value.
Yes. You walk in with the atmosphere of someone who is already valuable. You don't need their validation because you've already validated yourself in the blueprint.
And that changes the dynamic of the entire room.
It does. You stop leaning and you start standing.
I love that. Okay, example 2, relationships. We're calling this one the vibe.
This is the one everyone notices. We've all felt this. Someone walks into a party and the whole room just shifts.
And we usually think, oh, they're just born with charisma.
Or they're really good looking, so they have it easy.
Yeah.
But Holmes would say it's their mental atmosphere. Let's look at the inverse, because I think we've all been there. If you enter a social situation with a blueprint of rejection, if you're mentally rehearsing, they won't like me, I'm awkward, I don't know anyone.
Then your body language follows that blueprint. You cross your arms.
You check your phone. Avoid eye contact.
You literally make yourself unapproachable.
And then, because you're unapproachable, nobody talks to you.
Yeah.
Which proves your blueprint right.
It's a self-fulfilling prophecy.
You leave thinking, see? Nobody likes me.
Wow.
Holmes says, we attract what we love, hate, fear, expect, or steadily contemplate. And note that word, fear.
Right.
If you steadily contemplate the fear of being alone, you attract situations that make you feel alone. But if you steadily contemplate connection,
You unconsciously signal openness. You smile at the right time.
you have the right question. It's subtle stuff.
It sounds simple, but in the moment, that fear feels so real.
That's why the rehearsal has to happen before the party.
Yeah.
You can't wait until you're in the stress to build the blueprint.
You have to install the software before you open the laptop.
Exactly.
That brings us to the third example, and this one is tricky because it triggers a lot of people. Habits and money.
The limitation trap,
Yes. And this is where Holmes talks about mental blotting.
which sounds a bit like censorship or denial.
It does.
And in a way, it is. It's self-censorship with a negative. We have a habit of verbalizing our limitations. It's almost a form of social bonding.
Oh, totally. Oh, times are hard. I'm too old to learn that.
I'm just bad with money.
It's small talk. We bond over complaining. Look how expensive eggs are. I'm so exhausted.
We do, but Holmes says we're just reinforcing a cracked mold. He says to refuse even to think of the other. That's the mental blotting.
Okay.
When the thought comes up, I can't afford that, you don't fight it, but you don't verbalize it. You blot it out. You refuse to give the builder the blueprint of lack.
I want to push on this a little. Is this just fake it till you make it?
Mhm.
If I'm broke and I say I have plenty of money, that's just lying, right? If I ignore my debt, it gets worse.
It's a subtle but really important distinction. Holmes isn't telling you to write checks you can't cash.
Okay.
He isn't telling you to ignore the bill collectors. He's telling you to stop rehearsing the state of being broke.
Aha.
If you walk around saying, I'm always broke, you will unconsciously make decisions that keep you broke.
You'll avoid looking at opportunities.
You'll accept less pay. You'll engage in retail therapy to feel better for a second.
So it's not about pretending the bank account is full. It's about stopping the rehearsal of, I will always be poor.
Correct. It's stopping the rehearsal of the problem so you can start rehearsing the solution. You have to shut off the supply of lack blueprints to the builder.
If you keep handing the builder plans for a prison.
He keeps building bars. Stop drawing the bars.
Okay, so we know we need a steady stream. We know we need a clear blueprint, but how do we actually sit down and do this?
Right, the practical part.
We promised a specific tool. We're calling this the Mental Rehearsal Script.
This is a 4-step process. And the key here is that it's quick. You don't need an hour of meditation
You can do this in the car.
in the shower or right before a Zoom call.
Step 1 is simple. Name the moment.
Right. Specificity drives the builder.
Yeah.
Don't just say, I want to be successful.
That's way too vague.
The builder can't build success. It needs a project. Pick a specific upcoming event.
The Tuesday staff meeting, the date on Friday.
The hour you've set aside to write your book. Be specific.
Okay. Step 2 is where I think most people, including me, usually get it wrong. Picture the first 10 seconds.
This is the game changer. Holmes talks about visualizing being definite. But most people visualize the end result.
The victory lap.
They visualize winning the Oscar. They visualize the marriage proposal, the standing ovation.
The movie montage moment.
Right. And that feels good, but it doesn't help you navigate the stress of the actual event. You need to rehearse the entry.
Okay.
Visualize the first 10 seconds of the situation, walking through the door, sitting in the chair, unmuting your microphone.
What are we looking for in that visualization? Just the image.
Posture, breathing, calmness. See yourself moving from room to room. Holmes says to be definite. Don't fantasize about the applause. Visualize yourself handling the pressure of the start with total composure.
If you can win the first 10 seconds, the rest usually flows.
That's it.
Got it. So I'm seeing myself sit down at the desk, cool and collected. Step 3. Speak one inner line of confidence.
This comes from the concept of affirmative treatment. You need a phrase that anchors the blueprint.
Something short.
Short, and it shouldn't be desperate.
Can you give us some examples?
Something like, I am equal to this situation, or I am here to give value, or even just, I am calm and ready.
I am equal to this situation. I like that. It's neutral but strong. It isn't, I am the king of the world.
Exactly. It has to be believable to you. And finally, step 4. Rehearse one small action.
This connects the mind to the body.
Yes. See yourself performing the first physical action perfectly. Opening your laptop without fumbling. Shaking hands firmly. Looking someone in the eye and smiling. You're giving the subjective mind a clear, high-resolution video file of exactly what success looks like physically.
Oh, the stack is.
Yeah.
Name it first 10 seconds, inner line, and then the small action.
If you do that, you've handed the architect a clean blueprint. And if you do that consistently, not just once, but as a habit, the behavior naturally follows the pattern.
You won't have to try to be confident.
You will just be the pattern you built.
However, and there's a big however here, there are pitfalls. Holmes is actually very strict about how we mess this up. We've identified 5 common mistakes that crack the mold.
The first one is the biggest rule breaker for the social media generation. Talking about it.
Holmes says, keep it to yourself, don't talk to anyone about it. That feels so antisocial. Why so secretive?
There are 2 reasons. First, biologically, talking dissipates the energy.
How so?
You get a dopamine hit from telling someone, I'm going to write a book.
Yeah.
Your brain feels the satisfaction of having done it just by saying it.
Ah, the premature celebration.
Exactly. You lose the drive to actually do the work. But the second reason is even more important for Holmes. It invites what he calls race consciousness.
Other people's doubts.
Yes. The moment you tell your skeptical friend your big new idea.
And they raise an eyebrow, or they say, are you sure? The economy is pretty bad right now.
And boom.
Your mold is cracked.
You let their doubt enter your blueprint. Holmes is adamant. Build the vision in silence. Present the world with the finished product, not the plans. Protect the blueprint while the concrete is still wet.
That is great advice. Mistake number 2 is the fluctuating stream we mentioned earlier. The fix there is consistency.
Right. And you can't just cancel out a negative thought with a positive one. You have to replace the habit. It's about the ratio.
Okay.
If you want a new result, the stream of specific directed thought needs to be the dominant signal. You have to catch yourself in that worry loop and switch back to the blueprint.
Mistake number 3, effort and strain.
This is so counterintuitive. We think if we really want something, we have to clench our teeth and visualize hard.
The constipation face of manifestation.
Exactly. Squeezing your brain. But Holmes teaches non-struggle. Remember, you're the architect, not the builder.
The architect just draws the lines.
They don't carry the bricks. If you're straining, it implies you don't believe the builder can do the job. It implies doubt.
So the mental rehearsal should feel calm.
Cool, calm, and collected. Mind does the work, not your muscles. If you're sweating, you're doing it wrong.
Mistake number 4, dwelling on limitation.
This goes back to the mental blotting. If you spend your time analyzing why you're stuck, you're just reinforcing the stuckness. You're studying the walls of the prism.
But isn't that what we're supposed to do? We go to therapy to analyze our problems.
And analysis absolutely has its place. But in the context of creating a new future, looking at the past doesn't help. You can't drive forward by staring in the rearview mirror.
And finally, mistake number 5, waiting for external proof first.
This is the ultimate catch-22.
I'll believe I'm successful when I see the money.
I believe I'm lovable when I get the date.
I'll be confident when I get the promotion.
But the principle says,
You can attract only that which you first mentally become.
if you wait for the proof, you'll wait forever. It's like standing in front of a mirror and waiting for the reflection to smile first.
That's a great image. You have to smile first.
You have to smile first. You have to believe the blueprint is real before the house is built. You have to believe it is done.
That's the hard work. That is the real discipline.
It is. People think this stuff is easy or woo-woo. It's actually the hardest discipline there is. It's refusing to let the outer world dictate your inner world.
Let's do a quick recap. We've covered a lot of ground today. Let's boil this down to the essentials from Holmes on using the imagination.
Okay, 1, imagination is a blueprint, not a daydream. It's a tool for construction.
2,
The subconscious, or subjective mind, builds whatever pattern you provide, without judgment. Doesn't have a sense of humor.
3. A fluctuating stream mixing hope and worry brings fluctuating chaotic results.
4. Stop talking about your limitations. Blot them out.
5. Keep your new visions secret. Don't let the world edit your blueprints.
6. Practice the first 10 seconds rehearsal. Visualize the start, not just the finish.
And finally, 7. Believe it is done, and the how will reveal itself.
It really changes the way you look at your own thoughts.
It does. You stop seeing them as just noise and start seeing them as instructions.
You realize you are the architect, sitting at the drafting table every single hour of the day.
And you look down and realize, wait, why am I drawing a disaster?
And you pick up the eraser.
And you draw something better.
Mm-hmm.
Next time, we're going to go even deeper. We're discussing man's right of choice. That's the 7th episode.
Oh, that's a big one.
We're going to explore why we have the freedom to choose wrong and how to start choosing right.
It deals with the concept of will and individuality. Why are we even allowed to fail? Yeah. We'll get into all of that.
Thanks for being here. If you want the full series, check the playlist, and please like and subscribe so you don't miss the next episode.